Hello internet friends, my name is Tyler Lloyd and this is my YouTube channel where I document my personal development journey and all that I learn along the way. Today I'm going to be talking about responsibly decluttering, how to get rid of stuff from your life without totally wrecking the environment and maybe doing some good along the way. So let's get right into it. I have got a lot of notes and a lot of thoughts. Hopefully this video doesn't turn into a giant rambling mess, but it probably will. I apologize. The very first thing is, of course, sell the stuff. If it's of any value, you could sell it, recoup some of the money. Don't turn that money into more stuff, but maybe invest it, put it for a future vacation or a trip, but selling is always an option. I've found a lot of good results on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Let Go, Nextdoor, things like that. So selling is always an option. Of course, donate. You always come to donating things, and I'm going to have a lot of different ways of donating for specific items on this list. But the biggest thing is ask before you donate. Make sure that you are donating something that people actually want. Don't just toss your junk to a donation facility and make them have to deal with it. If they're going to end up throwing it away anyway, don't do that to them. You know, these organizations are already understaffed, underpaid, underfunded, so don't just give your junk to someone else to deal with. So the first thing I have on my list are t-shirts. My t-shirts usually go through a life cycle that looks something like this. First, it's a normal t-shirt that I would wear out. Then maybe it gets downgraded to a workout t-shirt or a working around the apartment and community garden, something that I'm willing to get messy and dirty. Then it becomes a rag in my house. All our cleaning rags are old t-shirts, so repurpose those t-shirts as rags. That's what I do. Now, if you're decluttering and you have a lot of business clothing, particularly business clothing that is still somewhat fashionable, I'm not talking about suits from 20, 30 years ago, even though fashions do tend to come around. But for your business clothing, you can find local organizations that help people get employment. Maybe that they don't have access to, dress clothes to go to interviews. But look for those types of organizations in your community because those will do a lot more good than donating them to just a generic organization. Then winter coats, same thing. There's always going to be organizations looking for winter coats in your community for underpowered people, homeless. And then if you have Patagonia clothing, which I recently learned about, that you can actually send back your clothing to Patagonia. They'll give you credits to buy future clothing, and that's one of the many reasons that I love Patagonia. This t-shirt is from Patagonia. Socks and underwear. Now these are difficult items to get rid of because you don't want to be donating your old underwear, socks, bras. But if you do have vermicomposting, composting with worms, and it is a natural fiber, something like cotton, hemp, wool, even silk, if you remove the elastic band, chop it up, it'll actually break down. But don't try to compost it in something not designed for a fabric like this. Like, don't take it to your community compost because then you're just going to be throwing your underwear in there and it's kind of weird. But socks and underwear are a difficult one. There are a few companies that you can send your socks and underwear to and they'll give you a credit. One of them that I found, it's for women's clothing, is Kaniki. I'm probably saying it wrong. I'll put the link down below so you can look into something like that. Now, shoes. In doing research for this, I found out that the average American buys 7 pairs of shoes every single year. That just baffles me. I don't buy that many pairs of shoes, so that means that someone's buying a whole lot more shoes to compensate for people like me who buy maybe 1 pair a year, if that. I didn't buy any the past year, but shoes, if they're lightly used, you can donate them. And also Nike actually has a reuse program. It's their reuse a shoe program, and you can go to a Nike store, like one of the official Nike stores or a Converse store, and donate your shoes, any tennis shoes. And they will take them. They don't have to be a Nike or Converse brand, and they will break those down and turn them into like playground padding, tracks, even into new shoes. So that's one thing that you can do. And also on shoes, Just buy better shoes to begin with. Maybe this is something to think about going forward. Shoes that are going to last, not something fast fashion. If you invest in good quality pairs of shoes, especially dress shoes and boots and things like that, they'll last you for a decade plus. Tennis shoes, a little bit harder, they do wear out, but there's a lot of companies that are producing better and more sustainable tennis shoes with a full life cycle in mind. Hangers. As you're decluttering your closets, you're probably going to have a lot of extra hangers without all those clothes cluttering your closet. You can donate them to charities that are selling clothes. They need something to hang those clothes on. You can give them to your dry cleaner if they came from there. Laundromats as well will accept them. Sometimes they have big bins of hangers, so you could take them there. Look into free cycle or buy nothing groups, and this goes for anything essentially that's on this list. If you haven't heard of a free cycle or buy nothing group, there are communities that are probably around you that you trade stuff, you give stuff away. Maybe you don't want to go through the hassle of selling it. You not really want the money, need the money. I think we all kind of want more. Most people want more money. Maybe you don't need the money. Maybe you don't want to go through the hassle. Well, free cycling or a buy nothing group is something great to look into, where you can trade something that you no longer need, no longer have in your life, and maybe you can find some stuff that you actually do need, but don't go on there and fill your life full of clutter. And sadly, if you can't find a place to get rid of them, they're going to have to go in the trash. Not everything could be donated or recycled. A lot of stuff has to go in the garbage, unfortunately. But if you're minimizing, in the future, you're going to have less and less stuff being tossed. Now, if you are decluttering your medicine cabinet, you may be wondering where to get rid of this stuff. Don't just throw it in your trash, especially if it's any prescription medication. That stuff's not good for the environment. Don't want to get it in the waterways. Bad enough with, frogs changing their sex because of all the hormones that are being found in the water. What you can do is there is a National Drug Take Back Day, which is actually coming up. It's April 24th, so you can find a drop-off facility, but that's mainly geared towards prescription drugs, and the whole program was designed to get things like painkillers, like maybe after you had oral surgery or something, you don't take all the pills. They don't want those sitting around in your home where they can be misused. But I also found out that a lot of drugstores will actually take back both your prescription and over-the-counter medications. CVS and Walgreens have programs. You just have to find a participating location in your area, and you can find that online. Makeup. Now, maybe you've purchased some makeup. I'm talking about people that wear makeup. I don't wear makeup. This beauty is natural, 100% me. But you could look up for a makeup swap. My wife went to one last year, so some of the products that she tried, she didn't like. She traded them with other people who might actually use them. And then also those buy nothing groups. And then friends. Maybe you tried something out, you didn't like it, but you think maybe a friend will. Pass it on to somebody. And worst case, you'll have to toss it. Batteries and electronics. Don't throw these things away. You can take them back to a lot of places where you bought them. Best Buy, most Best Buys take batteries and electronics. In the DC area, however, they're currently not taking batteries because the battery recycler in the area went under. So they can't take those, but they can take other electronics. I dropped off some stuff. If you're dropping off any laptops or cell phones, anything with personal data, make sure you wipe them and reset them to factory settings before you do that. You don't want anybody stealing your data. Glasses. I recently had LASIK, so I no longer need glasses, but if you're a glasses wearer, you know that if you're getting a new prescription every few years, you're going to have these glasses sort of collecting. What do you do with them? Well, ask your eye care provider if they will accept them. All of the big chains in the United States typically take them back and have connections with recycling or reuse programs that repurpose them. Your local Lions Club will also collect glasses. And then VSP, which is the largest eye care insurer in the United States, actually has a program where you can collect them and then send them back. And that's what I'm doing with mine, because VSP is also my insurance. But you don't have to be a member of VSP to use this program. Magazines. Yes, you can recycle magazines in most places in the United States, I think. When you're recycling things as well, check with your local area of what they take, because it differs across the United States depending on their facilities' capabilities. But magazines typically are something that you can recycle. But if you have newer ones, you can take them to doctor's offices, dentists, if they're actually having waiting rooms where people are sitting around. That's a good thing that you could do. Or you can take them to preschools, daycares, after school programs for crafts, assuming that they are appropriate magazines for children to be looking at and cutting up. Or you can use them for wrapping paper. I've done it before, it's always fun. Or make a vision board to make some crafts yourself. This is something that I've been thinking about doing, of taking photos of things that I am working towards that I want to manifest in my life and making a vision board. Feels kind of weird, but do you think I should make a vision board? Have you made a vision board? Let me know in a comment down below. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while, but have been hesitant for whatever reason. Moving on to the next thing, books. If you have books, you can actually donate them to your local library. You can find a little free library. We have several in my community where I take books that I read and then put them back. And if I buy a book and want to pass it along, I also pass along lots of books to friends and family if I find them interesting. So a lot of things that you can do with books, but no one probably wants your old textbooks. If you kept your textbooks from, undergrad, grad school, and it's been a few years, they're probably outdated. No one wants them. Sadly, they just need to be recycled. Cookware and household items. See if there is a local refugee resettlement organization in your community. They're always looking for things like this, for pots, pans, bedding, even lamps, anything that you would normally have in your home. You can find it a refugee resettlement organization that, as these people are coming in to the United States. Yes, this list is U.S. focused because I'm an American and this is what I know, but you might find it in other countries as well, that they're going to need things to help these people out, to make them feel at home. So look for a refugee resettlement organization for cookware and household items. Blankets, towels, and sheets. Animal shelters. Animal shelters need these items. They go through a lot of them. So contact your local animal shelter, and that can be a good way for blankets, sheets, bedding, and things like that. Towels. Paint and cleaning supplies. These are household hazardous waste. They should not just be tossed, especially paint and some other chemicals that you might find in your garage. Do not put them in the trash. Sometimes they're very flammable and you can set the garbage truck on fire. This is true. You shouldn't be flushing them down the drain. Find a local hazardous waste drop-off facility so you can take them there and they can dispose of them properly. Same thing with VHS tapes and cassettes. A lot of hazardous waste places will take them because that ribbon in there, that mylar ribbon, is loaded with heavy metals, so you don't want that going into a landfill and then leaching into the groundwater. Not so good. And then you can actually sell them. Not your home movies. No one's probably interested in your home movies unless you are famous. But there's actually a market for those old VHS tapes and cassette tapes. People like collecting them. And the same thing with old TVs. Apparently there's a lot of video gamers who are collecting their classic consoles and they want a classic TV to play them on rather than a modern flat screen. It does look different, so I understand. Pillows and mattresses, unfortunately, you're gonna have to dispose of those. So you're gonna probably have to do a bulk pickup. There's not a lot of things you can do with them. A lot of places you're not actually legally allowed to resell them. So don't get in trouble trying to sell a mattress, even if it's gently used. Make sure they're plants. This is something that I thought about as I was going through my list, because I've had a lot of people in my apartment building get rid of plants that we have adopted. But there are plant groups that if you find that you have a plant that's out of control, or if you discover that you don't have a green thumb and you don't want to kill any more of your plants and want to give them to a loving home, you can actually find people that will gladly take them. Photographs. Photographs can be very difficult. If they're older photographs, they're going to have silver and other chemicals on the print. that can't be recycled, and even newer ones have coatings that make it difficult, so you're probably not going to be able to recycle them. Definitely, scan them, keep those memories, but if you're getting rid of the physical copies, they can be very difficult to recycle, so they're probably going to have to go in the trash. Same thing with receipts. Receipts have a thermal paper that has a BPA coating on it, and they can't go into the waste stream, so you're going to have to trash those receipts. But see if you can avoid getting receipts to begin with. Some places like CVS, you can actually sign up not to get the receipt. My wife has done it. I haven't done it, and she gave me a whole lot of grief when we recently went to CVS and it printed out that 3-4 foot receipt. So I need to sign up for that. And last thing on my list, I have most plastic. This is kind of a side note tangent, but most plastic isn't actually recyclable. It might have that recycling symbol on it and say, that it's a number 5. It probably actually isn't recyclable. If you're tossing it in with recycling, it's either going to be sorted out at the facility or be shipped to another country and end up in their landfill and be their problem. Most plastic, sadly, isn't recyclable. This is my list. I tried to be as detailed as possible. What did I miss? What did I miss? Let me know in a comment down below, and I will try to answer your questions. I kind of went through my house to make this list and looking at all the various things. If I missed something, let me know. If there's any other information that you have, I would love to know. But if you want more videos on decluttering, check out this video about decluttering paper waste, or this video where I decluttered 450 things from my life. See you guys later. Bye.